"I don't like sweet, cute art," states Fuyuko Matsui, an artist whose work often includes grotesque subjects. Pieces such as "Keeping Up the Pureness," "The Parasite Will Not Abandon the Body," and "Joining the Conversion" not only carry on traditional Japanese painting techniques, but are also a contemporary look into an ancient Buddhist meditation practice where one observes the natural decay of a deceased body. This is Oddstrosity. Let's reset what's expected. Beings grow old, fall ill, and die. Their ruin does not stop even for a while. This is what Siddhartha Gautama had to say after witnessing the world around him for the first time. In Ashwagosha's epic poem, the Buddha Charita, in praise of Buddha's acts, Siddhartha Gautama was completely sheltered from witnessing the world around him until he was nearly 30 years old. After his initial exposure to the outside world, he was left shaken to the core. He saw illness and suffering that his younger self could never have imagined. This experience changed his outlook on life and led to a spiritual journey where he would meditate and grow. The poem explains that through his journey, Siddhartha Gautama ultimately escaped worldly suffering, achieving eternal nirvana, and would come to be known as the Buddha. Through this mindset, Buddhists view the body as a flawed and temporary vessel, and, just as the Buddha did, they believe one should follow the path to become free from such earthly physical restraints. Meditation is one of the key techniques used on this journey. One particular form of meditation involved observing the stages of decay that a deceased body goes through when decomposing in nature. Buddhists felt that studying this gradual deterioration offered several benefits, including demonstrating how fleeting and corrupt our mortal selves are, exemplifying the need to transcend the individual self. Thomas Clements, a postdoctoral researcher in paleobiology at the University of Birmingham, explains that such a visceral subject is a core tenet of Buddhism. Acknowledging death and our own ephemerality are vital steps for achieving enlightenment. Buddhist texts, such as the Discourse of Great Wisdom, identified the 9 stages of corporeal decay. Later texts, such as the Discourse of Mahayana Meditation and Contemplation, used these 9 stages to promote the idea of human impermanence, the decaying corpse used for contemplation and reflection on the transient nature of human life. The 9 stages of decay vary, but one such sequence could be: Stage 1, a pre-death portrait where we get to see the subject still alive. Stage 2, the body appears healthy, but we know the subject has recently passed. Sometimes this phase shows onlookers mourning. Stage 3, rigor mortis sets in and the body begins to swell. Stage 4, blood oozes and fluids leak from the cadaver. Stage 5. The body begins to rot as putrefaction takes place. Stage 6. Animals scavenge and pick away at the remains. Stage 7. After severe deterioration, the body is reduced to bones. Stage 8. The disjointed skeleton is scattered and the body's form is lost. Stage 9. At last, the figure is diminished to dust. Oftentimes, this step shows a memorial piece. This concept has been around for more than 2 millennia, originating in India, in a culture where it wasn't uncommon to leave the departed unburied. Some Buddhists would commit these real-life scenes to memory and later recall them when they needed support spiritually. The 9 stages of decay would later prove to be a popular subject of Buddhist art and poetry as well. Throughout the 700s CE, these works traveled from India to elsewhere in Asia. It would continue to evolve, notably by medieval Japanese artists who developed a visual interpretation called Kusōzu. Meaning pictures in the 9 aspects, Kusōzu is an art form that uses a sequential series of paintings to depict the 9 stages. This particular set seen here is titled Moral Illustrations on the Transience of Life and is believed to be from the late 1800s. At that point in Japan, the departed were typically cremated, but the Kusōzu artistic custom was still popular. This set also has a title page, first showing the subject before her demise, and then adding an additional step of decay. Some believe this woman is Yang Guifei, an 8th century Chinese woman. She was the consort of Emperor Xuanzang of the Tang dynasty, and, to put it briefly, many blamed her for the fall of his court. Whether that was true or not, Yang Guifei was punished, forced to end her own life. Like in these images, her unburied body was abandoned. Art is subjective, and Kusōzu is viewed in many different lights by many different people. Buddhist monks see Kusōzu as useful visual tools for their meditation. Others find its gory imagery to be repulsive, the same way many perceive splatter horror films. Some people classify Kusōzu pieces as erotic art though, not solely due to the fully nude figures portrayed, but for their supposed unconventional whimsy as well. This seems ironic when it's noted that Buddhist monks, who are sworn to celibacy, suggest that mentally recalling these macabre scenes will help quell any unwanted desires. Clearly, people have very different stances on all of this. Another debated topic is whether or not these visual works express sexist attitudes or not. At the root of it, Buddhism has been known to have misogynistic traits, though that doesn't necessarily mean that this art aligns with those sentiments. In traditional Japanese paintings, women are often seen as examples of picturesque beauty and elegance, whereas Kusōzu's grisly portrayal could be seen as flipping this common approach on its head. Ashkan Honarvar, a collage artist who explores the 9 stages concept through several of his compositions, explains that some scholars have expressed concerns about Kusōzu's exclusive focus on the female body, seeing it as reflective of misogynistic attitudes in Japanese Buddhist thought. This interpretation argues that the genre served to reinforce gender stereotypes and promote negative views of women in Japanese society. However, others view Kusōzu as a subversive and transformative art form that challenged traditional gender roles and norms. Ultimately, the meaning and significance of Kusōzu are subject to interpretation and debate. Whether it's Ashwagosha's epic poem, Fuyuko Matsui's traditional paintings, or Ashkan Honarvar's detailed collages, artists have continually found ways to examine themes that aren't always easy to explore. Art can help build cultural awareness, challenge us to consider our morals, aid in spiritual growth, or even be displayed just for its aesthetically pleasing qualities. Even after each of us inevitably fade into nature, many of these works will carry on and inspire anew. This has been Odstrosity. I really want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment to support these videos. Join me next time and we'll once again reset what's expected.